Somber Song, Book 1 of Melody's Ballad, written by Allia May Rose, read by the author. Chapter 1, Intro Hostage. Are you ready to meet your new sister? We all nodded. Of course, she wasn't really our new sister, but sister sounded better than hostage. Mother liked things to be nice. She may not like the Emperor's decree to house the princess, but she would do her best to make the best. I loved that about Mother, even if it did mean a couple of earfuls about being polite and kind and welcoming to this new girl. The whole palace turned out for her arrival in their very best. Not that there was much of the palace staff. I wondered what my newest sister would be like. Allia. Her name was Allia, I knew that already. The Empire had conquered her large kingdom to the southwest. To keep her mother and brothers from planning retaliation, she was being sent here. When she came of age, the Emperor's son would marry her, solidifying and stabilizing the conquest. Until that day, my family would keep her safe, comfortable, and up in the north, far from everything else. Annie and Sylvia shuffled, kicking the dust and occasionally each other's shoes. As much as they felt awed by the occasion, their 3- and 4-year-old attention spans suffered. And as much of best friends they were, their nerves liked to take things out on each other. Shh! I swept between them, taking each by a hand. They looked up, nearly like twins with their blue eyes and curls of blonde. Their hair would darken with time as mine had, but for now their locks remained as pure as the sun. They looked so cute in plum. We all wore plum and gold, our colors. A golden unicorn on plum background waved and snapped at the top of the steeple crowning our palace. The sun warmed it as it washed my cheeks and strawberry hair. The beautiful day glowed to greet our new guest. "Melody, is she coming soon?" Annie's bright eyes beamed. It never failed to make me beam back down at her, like light bouncing off of mirrors. I squeezed her little hand. "I'm sure." "Ah, do you hear that?" Annie and Sylvia stilled and silenced. Not too far away, the clatter of hooves and the squeak of wheels foretold the coming. Immediately they bounced up and down, swinging my arms. "We're getting a sister! We're getting a sister!" As much as their squeals ruined the decorum of the moment, Mother only smiled. I couldn't help smiling too. It's hard to beat the enthused greetings of small children. If anything would make Allia feel welcome, it'd be that. Not long until I found out what she's like. My own age, down to the month. We could be best friends. While there were plenty of girls and boys my age in the town, there were none in the palace. I envied Annie and Sylvia being so close together. I knew the 11-year gap between me and Annie pained Mother deeply, so I tried not to show my disappointment. She'd had enough of her own disappointments and losses those 11 years. Now I'd have someone to share my room with, so we could whisper secrets into the long night. The whole castle knew Annie and Sylvia did that nearly every night, since their whispers were more like giggles and shrieks. Father wouldn't hear ours, so he wouldn't have to come and make sure we went to sleep with his patient but firm presence in the doorframe. The clattering grew louder. They must be up at the hill, just around the bend. The yellow birch and aspen quivered in a breeze. They seemed as excited as we were. I took in a deep, calming breath and smiled. Their scent always made me feel free. Between that and the sunshine warming my hair, it felt a perfect day. Black percherons trotted into view, tossing their heads and arching their necks. The carriage behind them glowed green and gold with peacocks decorating the sides, the colors and symbol of Allia's country. Father had shown me how far away it was on the map, but it was so hard to pronounce I couldn't seem to remember its name. The horses stopped in front of the line of greeters. A footman opened the door and offered his hand to the waiting princess inside. Annie and Sylvia held their breaths. I believe I did too. A small head popped out. A girl my age, just as I expected. Her straight, glossy hair colored cinnamon and her eyes hazel gray. Her skin glowed as pale as a porcelain doll's. Her dress flowed about far finer and more elaborate than anything I owned. Layers of black velvet over green taffeta, all crisscrossed with large golden chains with gemmed charms glittering. Delicate lace ruffled her sleeves and neck. She looked pale and tragic and pretty. I made sure to put on an extra wide smile to help her feel better. She looked out at everything, and her mouth formed a small opening. Oh. Somber Song, Book 1 of Melody's Ballad, written by Thalia May Rose, read by the author.